A lot is being said and written right now about potential modifications to Formula One's weekend schedule. The F1 executives want to attempt weekends with 2 qualifying sessions, a sprint race, and a feature race to keep fans interested. On the other hand, Max Verstappen is not interested in hearing about it, and such ambitions, together with the ever-expanding F1 schedule, indicate that his interest in the future is vanishing. Why? Let's discuss this. "I'm not going to quit until 2028, he says to The Telegraph, but none of this helps if I have to decide whether to continue after that. Verstappen claims to have discussed it with the highest levels of F1 management. "I've already spoken with F1 management and expressed my position. It's natural and healthy for us to keep in touch to give our fans the greatest goods. I'm excited to see what happens." According to the 2-time champion, there is a limit somewhere, and if this trend continues, it will no longer be worthwhile for him to stay away from home for around 25 weeks every year. "I am opposed to a different setup. Weekends are becoming increasingly hectic. I understand that Formula One wants to sell more tickets, but I don't want to go to more races. Racing is my life, but after a while, it's not worth being away from home so much, so I'd want to do something else," Verstappen said. Max Verstappen has vowed to leave Formula One if the sport's senior executives continue experimenting with race weekend formats. The sprint has been the most important recent alteration, with the alternate weekend schedule employed at 3 events in the previous 2 seasons. This year, the schedule has been expanded to include 6 of the 23 Grand Prix. Verstappen has already stated that he dislikes short races and prefers the traditional weekend schedule of qualifying on Saturday and racing the following day. The sprint program is expanding, and further improvements are being considered. Baku will host the first sprint weekend of 2023 at the end of April. Depending on the outcome of a vote, the second practice session might be changed into another qualifying session to determine the sprint grid, while the regular sessions, scheduled on Friday, would only affect Sunday's Grand Prix. The planned adjustment comes after F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali stated his wish to restrict the amount of practice teams receive on race weekends in favor of more competitive sessions. On the other hand, Verstappen has made it obvious that he is not on board with such a strategy. "I'm content with just the big race," he told Sport TV in Portugal. "That, I believe, is far superior in terms of excitement. Naturally, I hope there won't be too many changes, else I won't be around for long." Christian Horner, Red Bull team principal, is more open to alterations to the sprint format to make it more dynamic. He did, however, need help with the choice to organize the first such event of the year in Baku. "The fact is that conducting the first sprint race of the year in a street event like Azerbaijan is completely stupid," he told reporters in Melbourne, adding that he is wary of the hazards posted by a track that is fast and small in certain parts. "I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining sprint races of the year from a spectacle and a spectator standpoint. All you can do from a cost-cutting standpoint is ruin your automobile, and it's really expensive around there, so one race is adequate in Baku, but the fact that we have 2, there may be some activity there. But that's part of the difficulty and the work at hand. We can clean up the format for the upcoming sprint races so that they are more dynamic. The sporting directors have been working hard on it, and we may be able to finalize it." Max Verstappen recently came out against the FIA's intention to curb F1 drivers' free expression. The Dutchman's opposition to the new regulation by the ruling body was shocking since it came from an unlikely place. Given that Verstappen seldom speaks about controversial matters in the sport or elsewhere and likes to focus solely on racing, his remarks undoubtedly raised some eyebrows. But when the world champion, who prides himself on being apolitical, speaks up, it signifies something is wrong. This has caused Formula One CEO Stefano Domenicali to respond. In response to the rumored prohibition on political remarks on F1 platforms, Domenicali stated that neither the FIA nor F1 are seeking to silence the drivers and would continue to provide them a place to speak. "Everyone wants to talk, so having a platform to express what they want in the correct way is important," he told The Guardian. "We have a tremendous potential since the position of our sport is becoming increasingly global, multicultural, and multi-valued." Domenicali says that as a sport, they will not change their strategy and will continue to provide drivers a place to talk until they do it responsibly and without upsetting anybody. The contradictory remark to the FIA's new regulation reflects escalating tensions between the FIA and F1 owners Liberty Media, who have been dissatisfied with the governing body's decision in recent years. There have been situations where some judgments have been made against the interests of the sports owners, yet Domenicali maintains he is pursuing a realistic resolution regarding this verdict between all sides, namely the F1 drivers and the FIA. Likewise, he anticipates the FIA clarifying further to the drivers and defining what can and cannot be stated. Furthermore, he highlighted the FIA on their latest judgment. He claims that because the leading motorsport authority is a member of the International Olympic Committee, there are specific rules that the FIA must follow to be in good standing with the international body. Verstappen successfully defended his Formula 1 title this season, winning 15 of 22 races, including a third consecutive victory in Abu Dhabi over the weekend. I think Max is functioning at such a high level that I'm not convinced anyone, the way he's driving right now, with the same equipment will be able to replicate what he's done this year, Horner said on Sunday. In the season finale in Abu Dhabi, Sergio Perez was piped by Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, denying Red Bull a 1-2 finish in the driver's title. Still, Horner praised Perez for having his finest season in F1 to yet. "This is the strongest Red Bull has ever been," Horner stated. The technological and operational depth that we have throughout the business, everybody has gone the additional mile, which you need to do to produce the type of outcomes that we have against world-class competitors. And nobody ever lost sight of the goal, even after 8 years in the wilderness, of maintaining that momentum, that concentration, and that drive. But Red Bull has not had an easy year, with plenty of drama off the track, including a $7 million fine and a wind tunnel penalty for breaching the budget restriction last season. Add to that the way they won the title a year ago, as well as the current drama with team orders between Verstappen and Perez in Brazil, and the Milton Keynes-based mark has generated headlines for much more than just winning races. According to Horner, Red Bull Racing's success has fostered anger among rival teams. "The higher you go, the sharper the blades get, and we've seen a little of that this year," he added. "Winning and winning consistently is the easiest way to become disliked in this paddock. We're an energy drink subsidiary competing against OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, and historic brands, which some of our rivals don't like. I believe off track, we've had a bullseye on our back this year," he continued. "We're a race team, and all we do is race. We're not a political group, and all we do is race. We're hard racers. We push the boundaries, which is what successful racing teams do, and that's always been our attitude. That has served us well. It's how we like to compete. This year has been difficult at times, but that is, sadly, Formula 1. Horner anticipates a more difficult competition from Ferrari and Mercedes next season and believes Red Bull will take nothing for granted. When you win 17 Grands Prix and achieve what we've done, it's easy to see how it hurts our opponents, and I'm sure they'll be even more determined to become a challenger next year. They're both such high quality clubs, and nothing is certain in 2023, he remarked. Horner dedicated this great season to Red Bull founder and co-owner Dietrich Mateschitz, who died last month, and said 2022 taught him a lot. "It's been a fantastic year for the team, the drivers, and our partners. Clearly, having had the most successful year that we've ever had in the sport in a year where we regrettably lost our founder is testimonial and devoted to him," said the 49-year-old Brit. "I believe you learn not to anticipate a calm existence in this profession, especially when you're at the front. Never be complacent about winning, and always relish every outcome, every triumph, every moment, since they are so hard-earned and worth so much that they should never be undervalued. There's always something to learn, whether it's about budget, constraints, or driving." Thank you for stopping by to watch. Please subscribe to the channel and post your video recommendations in the comments area if you want us to do more films like this.